This is the Startup Tri-Valley podcast, featuring in-depth conversations with the leaders who are making the Tri-Valley the go-to ecosystem for science-based startups. I'm Yolanda Fintschenko from Startup Tri-Valley.
I'm Lisa Adamos with the City of Pleasanton.
Welcome. We are here today with Sam Rad, COO of LifeFoundry, a Tri-Valley company located here in Pleasanton. Sam, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's kick it off by maybe telling us a little bit about yourself and your company, who you are, what you do. What does your company do?
Yeah. So my name is Sam. I graduated from University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign with my Ph.D. in chemical and biomolecular engineering. During my PhD, I was mainly focusing on developing a fully automated robotic platform and an AI system that basically worked with it. So my PhD thesis was on developing this platform where the robots would do the experiments, would give the data to the AI, and then AI would decide what to do next. So basically, fully automated, research scientists, basically. We did this project and then published the paper, and then we were approached by a few Fortune 500 companies at the time, asking us that they told us this is very interesting. Can we use this platform? And then that's when I told my co-founder that I think we have a product market fit. So we shared, we talked to a bunch of people. We went through the I-Corps program through NSF. Went to a conference and then talked to a lot of companies, and everyone was like, "Yeah, this is very interesting. When can we start?" So, and I think we got that initial customer interest, and our prototype, the publications. We took both of these to a few investors, and we raised a seed round, started a company in Champaign, Illinois. Then started working with the same, Fortune 500 companies, some startups, working on a lot of different projects. But then I think, it's a great community. We really liked it there. But hiring people out of school was very easy. They were very talented engineers and biologists. But we needed, people with some few years of experience in automated strain engineering, and that was hard to find in Central Illinois. So that was, one of the reasons we decided to relocate the company, especially the biology side, to California, to the Bay Area, because most of the people in this space are in the Berkeley area. So that's I think we made that move a few years ago, and I think we've been doing a lot of different things. We started with the CRO model, basic contract research organization, so working with other people, filling a gap in their R&D pipeline. But now we're doing more of end-to-end development for companies that may not have their strain engineering or synthetic biology capability, and then we build a strain for them and give them the molecule that they're interested in, instead of just filling this certain gap. And recently in January, we launched our devices business too. So I went to this Society of Lab Automation and Screening conference in San Diego, and then started some of our basically showcase some of the automation devices that we've built internally to serve the needs of our scientists. But then we're making those available for the public. So there were some of the smaller and simpler ones, but we'll bringing more of those to the market throughout this year and hopefully next year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So if I understand correctly, you're using LifeFoundry uses AI and robotics to apply to a synthetic biology workflow to create. Is it to create a byproduct from that synthetic biology that your customers want?
Yes.
Or are you selling the actual engineered organisms?
Yes, we sell the engineered organisms. I think that's the main. Or some of them, they don't have experience growing those cells. So we engineer the organism, extract the molecule of interest, and then give it to them. So I think maybe a good example. I think one of the canonical examples in our field is the production of the anti-malarial drug artemisinin. So it was extracted from a plant that was very rare and hard to grow. And then I think Gates Foundation funded this group at UC Berkeley to find all the genes that can make this molecule, and then instead of put all of them in yeast, baker's yeast that we use in brewing beer or making bread. They moved all these genes, they transformed them in baker's yeast, and they could make that molecule at very high levels. And instead of waiting for years for that plant to grow, you can now just brew this yeast in large scale and then make a lot of that molecule at very low cost. And that helped, to stabilize the supply and, save a lot of lives throughout the world. So I think it's one of the most, inspiring, I think, examples, and that's one of the things that really inspired us to do this. So this is basically what the end goal is. But synthetic biology in general is about using and applying engineering principles in biology, right? So in engineering. In biology, used to, you would read a paper, come up with some ideas, and then, take a lot of time, design. Everything was done in a very bespoke and artisan way, like maybe 10, 15 years ago. But we try to modularize everything, standardize everything, and then automate it, right? So when you, if imagine, you're Ford and you're trying to build a car, and every bolt and nut is custom made for that particular car. It's going to be very expensive, and it's going to be difficult to do, and it's just going to be not very scalable like biology was maybe 10 years ago. But with this standardization, modularization, and automation, we are bringing biology to the industrializing biology and making it easier to engineer. And I think that's the promise of synthetic biology and what the field is trying to do. And it's been, I think, pretty successful. A lot of examples of successful companies and products that are in the market now. So that's certainly very exciting.
That's amazing. So for our audience, if I understand correctly, what LifeFoundry does is you have essentially taken synthetic biology, which is harnessing the mechanisms of a very robust cell like yeast to produce things that might be otherwise hard to produce. So, taking something, for example, like a high value pharmaceutical and being able to produce that in essentially the same way that you can make beer. At scale, and you've taken a further innovation, which is to make scalable the process of engineering those organisms themselves. Yes. So you're taking advantage of economies of scale with your innovation at sort of both pieces.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. I think we are really trying to standardize, modularize, and automate. Because once you standardize everything, then you can centralize them, right? And then that's when you can scale up and then automate the process and drive a lot of efficiency. So we're working on more than 10 different projects in the company now, and 4 different hosts, not just baker's yeast. And all of them use a lot of the similar infrastructure. So like the samples from different groups, different projects, they are pulled together in a central place. And then, one person processes all those samples, and then the users can see the status of those samples. And then, basically with this centralization and automation, we can drive a lot of efficiency. And that's been one of the key elements of our success.
That's amazing. So you're truly industrializing biology.
Yes, exactly. That's
that's amazing.
So Sam, what motivated you to work in this area, and how have you prepared for the current role that you're in?
So I'm originally from Iran. Contrary to popular belief, people there idolize the U.S., the culture, the dynamism, and the entrepreneurial culture too. So like when I was a kid, my dad gave me a Thomas Edison biography that I read that was very inspiring to me. I think we take it for granted, but maybe even a few hundred years ago in Central Europe, you would come up with an invention, and your only choice was to just go and sell it to the king, just get some prize for what you've done. But now I think, especially with this, on the new entrepreneurial economy, you don't need to ask permission for anything, right? You invent something and you go and commercialize it, and you can grow create a potentially multi-billion-dollar business out of that. So that I found that to be very inspiring, and one of the main reasons I came to the U.S. to pursue my dream. I think the first meeting I had with my advisor before he became my advisor, he asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 and 10 years? And I told him, in 5 years, I'm going to join a startup. In 10 years, I'm going to start my own startup. And he chuckled a little bit. I was like, yeah, that's a good goal to have, but you need to be realistic and think about the, academic options, the industrial options. And, I think, I was, determined to do this. And, once I saw the opportunity, we jumped on it and started the company. So I think the reason I was excited about synthetic biology, I think initially was the just environmental reasons and social reasons. I think at the time I was very excited about biofuels. Everyone thought it's going to be the next big thing, and I was only applying for programs that offered a significant amount of research in that space. I was the first project I worked on was in Energy Bioscience Institute that was funded by British BP, basically between UC Berkeley and UIUC. So that was how I got started working in this space. But then then I really saw how difficult it is to engineer biology, because all the tools were not available and everything was so artisan, and the process was not very efficient. So that's when I was like, okay, if we want to achieve what we want to achieve, we have to first fix the process, make it easier to engineer biology, and then once we do that, all of this other applications are going to be the byproducts of this process.
Oh, that's exciting. So you really got to see through your graduate work under the hood, so to speak, and discovered it's not an engine.
Yes, exactly.
Let's build an engine.
Yes, exactly. And it's if you really think about it, it feels like science fiction. I remember the first time I had a biochemical engineering course in my undergrad. My professor was telling us that this is how you cut this gene, and then you basically paste it somewhere else, and then you can see this function in this microbe. And I'm like, how can you cut? Can you see the gene? How can you cut it? So it's just really amazing if you think about it. The things that we don't see and we can't, we know how exactly they work, and we can, use them to make an impact on these cells and on the world. So it's really incredible, I think.
It's amazing.
Has anything surprised you most in the current role that you're in?
So I think as starry-eyed technologists, you don't think about the commercial and then all the work that other work than the technology needs to be done to get the business off the ground. So that was really surprising to me. I didn't know what finance does, what HR does, what's the difference between sales and marketing, right? So I didn't know any of those. And initially, you think that technology is everything, and I think that's necessary, but not enough to get the business off the ground. So how important the business side of things are, how important is this, just to make sure, to resolve the conflict, how much of my time, is spent on, on things other than the core technology. I think, fundraising, finance, finding patents, talking to the examiner, all those things take a lot more time than I initially anticipated. But that's the necessary nature of of business. You have to do all those things to get the technology to where you want it to go, and that was certainly very surprising to me.
Oh, that's amazing. So it sounds like is LifeFoundry your first job from grad school?
It is, yeah.
Was it 5 years?
Yeah.
That's inspiring.
Yeah,
It's really inspiring. So who or what has been the most helpful to you and for LifeFoundry's growth?
So I think I would say our team was the biggest reason our company is successful. I think I take great pride in the team that we've built, especially the early team that have been working with us for more than 5, 6, some 7 years. I really try to help them grow in their career. I try to help them make sure they're happy and make sure they're learning every day, every year, and then they're and in return they've been contributing a lot to the company too. So we have people who've been with us since they're freshmen in college or sophomore in college. They were starting as an intern, and now they're leading a team of 5 engineers, right? So they've been working with us for a very long time, and I think that's that's very valuable to have this team that's so passionate and excited about what they do and this mission, and just having this working relationship and making sure we can have this retention within the company is also something I take pride in. So I think that the team would be especially those who've been with us so in the ups and downs of business during COVID. I'm sure everyone was struggling with different things. So I think that's the key to our success, and that the people who've really helped us get where we are.
It's amazing. So it's the team.
Yes,
the team is everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what about the Tri-Valley ecosystem has contributed to the success of LifeFoundry, or what are you trying to build within your company?
Yeah. So when we came to Bay Area, I was initially looking to basically we cast a wide net to see where is a good place for us to relocate. So there were different considerations. I think the most important of which was talent, right? Because that was the main reason we were looking to expand our team here. And most of the talent was in Berkeley, Emeryville area. But after I talked to a few people, I realized a lot of them don't actually live there. They're in Walnut Creek, they're in San Ramon, they're all over the place, but they commute to Berkeley, and actually they kind of like the idea of not having to commute to with the traffic going to UC Berkeley area. So I think the talent was the number one consideration picking this space. On the peninsula side, there are not as many people working on the high throughput screening engineering, and most of it was in the Berkeley area. And initially, we were looking for an incubator space, and Daybreak Lab was not available yet.
Right.
So we went to San Jose, and but I got in touch with Yolanda, with Brian Wilson, and here they really. I really felt like felt the sense of community in Pleasanton even before coming here. I was invited to all the Tri-Valley events, Tri-Valley startup events, Tri-Valley Life Sciences. I think it's in December, October.
Yes, you were a panelist for our Tri-Valley Life Sciences Summit, which is amazing. You did a great job.
That was before even coming to the Tri-Valley area. So I was really impressed with the sense of community, and also most of the that we're interviewing and ended up hiring, if I told them that we're going to be in San Jose, they would not have joined. They couldn't drive
that
from
commute.
Yeah, the commute from Walnut Creek to San Jose is or San Ramon to San Jose is brutal. And I felt like in San Jose we were more like another startup in the sea of startups that no one really paid attention to. But I really feel that again, when I use the word too too much with the sense of community. So one of our devices broke the other, last year, and I emailed Yolanda and Miriam and I asked them, okay, can we come to the Daybreak Lab and use it? Do you have something like this? And they were very kind to help us. Or like, some neighbor in our park in Call Center Parkway, they helped us with some other device, and we helped them with some other things that they needed. So I really enjoy that sense of community too. And also, last but not least, the cost of renting a lab is significantly more affordable here than in South San Francisco or in Emeryville area.
That's amazing. So talent, community, and price point.
A price point,
yes.
And it's just very accessible. You can commute to here from Sunnyvale, from the peninsula, from Berkeley, from Walnut Creek, from even Tracy, from all over the places. It's remarkable, and I can't think of anywhere else in the Bay Area that you have can commute to from so many different major cities.
That's
and
right.
I think that's very unique.
Yeah.
The centrality.
We're the central of the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Only 30 minutes,
Only 30
to
minutes
pretty
from-
much everything in the Bay Area.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a really great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also been very helpful for us finding talent. And also, one other thing is just the safety and the communities. I think a lot of our employees, when they moved here from Illinois, first thing they did when they parked their car, they was taking their backpack from the car in the call center, and I told them you don't need to. It's safer. You can bring it in, but you don't need to. And I think they hear all the stories about in San Francisco, and I really told them this is not downtown San Francisco, so you need to. You're okay.
Yes. That's such a good point. And it really kind of ties into what do you love about living and working in the Tri-Valley?
Yeah. So all of this. And I think that there are a lot of good food options too in downtown Pleasanton, Livermore. I really enjoy, and where we are is like 7 minutes drive from downtown, and you have access to so many ice cream shops, restaurants. When we were in San Jose, they were just like a Chick-fil-A and a Subway within 7 minutes drive. So this is really a step up, and I really enjoy the living experience, and just enjoy the area a lot.
That's such a good point, because I often forget, because of the size, because the Tri-Valley is comprised of essentially a lot of small towns.
Yeah.
When you locate in one of those small towns, you're not very far from, for example, the downtown. So you get, even if you're in the sort of industrial, easy to get to part from the freeway, you're, like you said, 7 minutes from downtown, and you can still enjoy that, and your employees can enjoy that kind of amenity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were doing interviewing a few candidates in our San Jose side, we would have to take them for lunch, either drive like 15-20 minutes to go to a mall to go to a restaurant, or like go to a diner like 10 minutes away, and it just was not a great option. I didn't love either of those options. So I feel so much better here in Pleasanton. Just things that you can do outside of work, I think is a lot more, a lot better and higher quality.
And accessible. It sounds like,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's so important.
So, what opportunities do you see for your company as you grow in the next 5 years here in Pleasanton in the Tri-Valley?
Yeah. So the opportunities, I think the I think we talked about the advantages of the community, but about the opportunities, I would say we have a lot of new business coming in. I think we have this device business that I'm pretty excited about, and I think there are a lot of talent in different device similar device companies. There's Thermo Fisher, there's a lot of different companies in this space, and I think that it will be a very it's a good community to find talent in any area that you want, really. So it's not just software engineers. It's you have hardware engineers, mechanical engineers, life science experts. So a lot of hard tech talent that I think is happens to be in the Tri-Valley area. Maybe a lot of it because of these companies, or some of it because of the national labs. I think there's just a lot of talent. So I'm really excited to as we grow the company, have access to that community and a group of people that we can leverage as we grow the company. But in terms of the customer opportunity, I think a lot of our customers are all over the country or all over the world. So probably not much of that is going to come from Tri-Valley, but just our abilities to grow, and then all the different spaces that are available. I think when we were trying to look for our space, the lab space at smaller size that we were looking for was a little limited, but I think when you get to a larger size, it's a lot more available. So that's also something I'm looking forward to hopefully grow and outgrow our current business, our current space in the next few years.
That's great. How much have you grown since you got here?
So maybe when we got here, the team in California was 3. I think now we're around 15 employees.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
5 times.
5 times, yeah.
That's great. I love to hear that. I mean, we've always said Pleasanton is a great place to, start and grow your company. So, and we've seen many examples of that with some of our businesses that we have here. So, that's great.
So those are some amazing opportunities. What challenges do you see in the next 5 years as you grow here in the Tri-Valley?
Honestly, I don't think there are any. So there obviously all businesses have their own challenges, but I don't think there are any challenges specific to the Tri-Valley area. I think one small thing that I've noticed is some of the younger employees, when they want to join us right after college. So it almost feels like we have the opposite problem we had in Champaign, that they think this they're not as much nightlife going on. It's like for more for families, and not for single young professionals. So I think that's something I've heard from a few people. It's not like they're the main sticking point, but I think that's in that cohort of people, I think that's the only cohort that I've had a little bit of a pushback. Dublin is I think where a lot of them end up in, and they seem to be generally happy. But I think that's the only small pushback that I've had in my experience working here for a year and a half.
But it does sound like the strength of the region is that we are a region. Yeah, and that there's a lot, so that they found an option where they are satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. Diversity of options. There's some in Livermore that, a lot more family oriented, but, Dublin is more, urban, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as you guys think about the city planning and development, I think that would be also something that maybe you can consider to just have, maybe a mixed development area with work and more restaurants and more dense walkable areas, but also some areas where we can the families with single family homes and whatnot.
Right. No, that's such a good point.
We're working on it. We have many opportunities, especially with that Stone Ridge Shopping Center. I think there's a lot of opportunities in Pleasanton for that type of development. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So are you hiring, and what do you look for in your hiring?
I think we've expanded a lot, so we're gonna pause for a little bit before we ramp up the hiring again. But I think when we do hire, I think obviously other than the skill match, I think just the startup mentality I think is very important for all the hires. I think we don't have too many levels or many very defined roles, so like everyone will just does what they think or we all think is the best for the company. So I think that mentality is very important. So we've had people to that say, okay, this is not in my job description, this is not in my role, I can't do this and that usually works very well in large companies when you have like different departments dedicated to different things. But like a lot of things that you need to do as a in a startup is just have to do what's necessary, what needs to be done. And I think that's one of the key things that we look for, other than of course the skill and then the experience and what the person can accomplish.
So kind of a willingness to apply yourself to whatever task needs to be done.
The can-do attitude that this is something that we need to do, and if I can do it, I will.
That's amazing.
And I think that's very important in a startup, especially early stages.
So for those preparing, I mean, I think you a little bit answered this, but some of our listeners are maybe, early or mid-career, maybe even late career, but some might even be students. And I'm just curious, if for that variety of audience, if you could maybe talk about for those preparing for their career in the life sciences, whether they are students still getting trained or maybe thinking of making a switch into life sciences, what advice would you give them? Particular if they want to work in a company like yours that's leveraging both, AI, robotics and automation, and synthetic biology.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think biology used to be, the very artisan and I don't want to use the word subjective, but it was a little subjective that people would have to read a lot of papers and then come up with different hypotheses and then try this or try that, and then it would take a lot of time to do it. I think now, and especially more a few years from now, there's going to be a lot of focus on data and then on generating data and analyzing data. So like data proficiency, I would say, is going to be a lot more important. And the ability to analyze large scale data and having that analytical thinking to be able to do that. Obviously, programming is going to be helpful. No matter which field you're in, I think it's just going to be important. And being able to, I think, understand the engineering principles, how to, decompose a complex problem that you're given to, smaller problems, and then how to tackle each one of those problems. I think that these are going to be very important. The concept of, obviously, you need to know what is the central dogma of biology, or what the origin, the general concepts are. But all those things you can learn, on the job, or of course you learn a lot of it at school too, right? But I don't think those are going to be what's going to differentiate them from others. I think just being able to have that analytical thinking and the data proficiency, and not being overwhelmed with a lot of data, and then be able to slice them and dice them and then analyze them, and then make conclusions from that data. I think is going to be a lot more important in the future.
So having that data proficiency and analytical skills, and I think buried underneath that, if I'm hearing you correctly, is understanding how to use all the tools and keeping up with all the tools that you can use. That's making that increasingly easier and easier.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think a lot of the the other concepts I think may or may not be as relevant in the future. So like let's say there used to be this, or there still is this field for for protein engineering, let's say, but a lot of new large language models that are kind of automating a lot of that. So you train this. All the proteins that have been discovered, by humans in the last 100 years. You give all the data to these large language models, and then they can tell you with some level of data. If you give them enough data, they can tell you if this protein if this protein is going to be, what the performance of this protein is going to be. So this used to be, a scientist really doing, a lot of, hypotheses. This is the bond. This amino acid is going to, bind with that one, and then maybe do some, rational design that to make those, point mutations. But now with machine learning, I think a lot of those are being automated. But just having that data proficiency and analytical thinking, I don't think it's ever going to be obsolete. I think it's always going to be necessary for developing biology and making new products. I think that's never going to go obsolete.
That's amazing.
So do you have any words of wisdom for any founders that are listening in?
For founders, so I think there maybe two things, two of my favorite quotes that really resonate with me. I think one is from Jeff Bezos. I think he was giving a talk about, of course he was talking his book, trying to emphasize, the need for people using AWS instead of building their own servers. But I think an example he gave was, a brewery in Germany that they were building a power plant to make power for their brewery. And then his point was, you have to focus on what makes your beer taste better, and not building the power plant, right? So outsource everything, focus on your core competency, focus on what makes your beer taste better. I think that's really, I think, been one of the main advices that I would say is important, that you have to startups, you don't have as much resources, you don't have you're competing with oftentimes very big companies, and what you have that they don't have is the focus. You should have that maniacal focus on one thing, and then execute as well as you can to do that one thing better than everyone else, and that's I think going to be your differentiating factor. The other thing is from, I think, Paul Graham. One thing he said is you have to build something people love. No matter, I think, as technologists, we always are very excited about the technology that we have. But at the end of the day, if it's no one really is interested in that technology, or it's not useful to them, or in that version of it, if you make it change, or maybe change the product a different way, or target a different audience, maybe they are interested. But you have to build something that a small group of people really, really love, and then they start using it, and they give you feedback, and then you improve it, and then you expand from there. So I think that, again, goes back to that focus. So you have to really focus on one thing and one thing alone, and then after you get to that point, and then you have to build something that a small group of people actually really love, and then from there you can expand and work on other things and target more people, and expand the market from there.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So what didn't we ask you that you think that you'd like to put out there for our audience?
I think we covered everything. I think one thing I like to emphasize is that just maybe I did it already enough, that this community that you guys have here is very special. I think that's one of the assets in the Tri-Valley area. It just Tri-Valley has one of the it has a very diverse workforce. That's it has it's nice. There are wineries. There are a lot of the experiences you can have here. There is there are mountains you can go on a hike, and the people here, I think, are I would say unusually very highly skilled, and affluent too, because of that. So I think that's just a very vibrant community for people to stay and build their businesses and grow their businesses too. So I think we all shouldn't take that for granted. It's very unique across the whole country, or more so across the world. And making sure we connect all these people, I think, is going to be very important, because when people with different areas of expertise connect with each other and learn from what they are doing, that's where the real innovation is born. And I think that's something. I think, of course, you're doing a great job at Yolanda, but I think this is something that makes this region special, and we need to lean in even more in this area.
I love that. I think this is a great place to end. So.
I second that. You are doing a lot, Yolanda, with Startup Tri-Valley and iGate. I mean, you bring together the ecosystem. Right. So, I mean, we're really appreciative to be able to partner with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, and thank you very much, of course, to my fabulous co-hostess, Lisa Adamos. And thank you so much, Sam, for bringing your company and becoming a part of our community. And thank you so much for your time today on the pod. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for building this community.
Thank you.